Well, joining me to talk about the Trump presidency and how it'll impact New Hampshire politics and more importantly, I guess you could say policy, Republican State Senator Annie Sanborn of Bedford.
Thanks for having me on.
Great to have you here. Democratic State Senator Dan Feltus of Concord.
Thanks, Paul.
Well, gentlemen, let's start right off the bat, the obvious. Obamacare, the federal health care law, Affordable Care Act, it's more than certain to be repealed very soon. How's that going to impact Medicaid expansion and everybody else here in this state?
You know, I think we have a great opportunity in what the new presidency is going to bring to us. I mean, clearly one of the challenges we have as legislators is every time the federal government tells us to do anything or sends us any money, there's always strings attached. It's very difficult to comply with both what the federal government wants and what the state wants to do. If President Obama is going to do what he says, which is block grant and send money back to us. I'm sorry, President Trump.
There you go.
See, it's the first day. We still have to get used to it. Now we're looking at block grants, so New Hampshire legislators will really be able to make New Hampshire solutions. I honestly think we have a great opportunity.
Senator?
Repealing the ACA will result in tens of thousands of granite staters losing their health insurance coverage. That's going to lead to driving up uncompensated care in the system, which is a hidden tax on everyone, including the business community, which is why businesses, health insurance providers, and others are so concerned and so nervous about this. In terms of block granting, under any scenario, in terms of block granting, New Hampshire tends to lose out. And right now, we get about 81 cents back on the dollar that we said to the federal government. If we go to block granting, we're probably going to lose out, and it ain't going to look good.
This is something you won't be dealing with this year, I would assume. We have to wait and see what Washington does, and this would be dealt with in the State House next year?
At least next year. I mean, look, you know, the president will come out with his agenda in the next couple of weeks, and then you've got what we call that first 100 days to kind of see how he begins to initiate what he does. But we're probably looking at least next year, frankly not the year after, before anything would come before the legislature for us to look at.
Look, this president has proven time and time again that he's entirely unpredictable. That kind of nervousness in our health insurance market, we see it, we're hearing it. And if you're serious about combating the heroin and opioid public health crisis, getting rid of the ACA and pulling the rug out of health insurance coverage for thousands of granite staters that are relying upon that health insurance for substance use, treatment, and prevention is not the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do for the country, and it's not the right thing to do for New Hampshire.
Before we move on to state issues, one thing I want to mention, you know, there were about 60 U.S. House Democrats who did not attend the inauguration. They skipped it in protest, including our own right here in New Hampshire, Carol Shea Porter, Congresswoman in the 1st District. Senator Feltus, what do you think of this? A smart move by these Democrats or no?
I respect the decision that anybody makes in terms of this, you know, in terms of witnessing the peaceful transfer of power that we saw on Friday. I probably would have attended, but I respect the decision of Representative Shea Porter. On Friday, we had the peaceful transfer of power, and I think it's important to thank the outgoing president for what he has done to pull the country back from a recession, millions of private sector job growth consecutively, month after month after month, saved the auto industry, lowest rate of growing health insurance premiums, and more people covered. So I want to thank the outgoing president. Obviously, we don't know what the incoming president's going to do. We just talked about it, but I want to thank the outgoing president.
Senator Sanborn, what do you think about Carol Shea Porter's move?
You know, I think what separates America from all of the other countries, or most of the other countries around the world, is we do believe in that peaceful transfer of power. We've always had a premise of respecting the transfer of power. I think it's incredibly disrespectful, and you didn't see that from the Republican side when President Obama took office, and the fact that
there were some, but not to these numbers.
But and it wasn't like a celebration to be disrespectful. I think that's the part that makes people upset, and a lot of people are very upset by the disrespect she showed. Look, if you don't want to show up, politely don't show up. Don't make a big thing about the protest. It's time for us to come back to the table. It's time for us to start working. It's time for us to start trying to find some solutions to the challenges that are facing us.
Well, another hallmark of our democracy, Paul, is freedom of expression. So I respect the decisions that have been made. I probably would have attended to witness a peaceful transfer of power, but I respect the representative's decision.
Well, Senators, we have a lot more to come. Next on NH1 Newsmakers.
Senator, at the public hearing, hundreds of people testified in opposition to this piece of legislation. But that didn't matter, did it? Because you already signed a pledge to support right to work for less.
What struck me most, Senator, was how many current union members came up and testified in support of passage of the bill.
Our two guests tangle in a contentious showdown over union fees. Plus,
Health and Human Services currently has a $65 million spending problem.
more troubles at one of the state's largest and most important agencies. Welcome back. We had showdowns this past week in the state Senate over two contentious pieces of legislation. Here's how it all played out.
Mr. President, passing this law is good for everybody, including unions.
Republican State Senator Andy Sanborn making the case for a GOP-sponsored right-to-work bill, which would allow non-union members in unionized workplaces to skip paying union fees for negotiations on their behalf.
As a result of this, there will be more jobs. There will be higher wages. There will be more businesses in New Hampshire.
Citing polls, Sanborn claimed,
It is clear that America supports right-to-work legislation.
27 states currently have such laws, but none in New England. Outside the Senate chamber, union workers opposed to the bill fill the hallway. Inside, Democratic Senator Donna Soucy argued,
I think this bill is designed to drive unions out of the state. I've not heard the name of a company that has said they would relocate to New Hampshire because we pass right to work.
But the day before the vote, Republican Governor Chris Sununu, who's meeting with out-of-state companies in his drive to bring new businesses into the state, told NH1 News.
I have met with companies that have brought up right to work to me, yes, even before I have mentioned it to them.
Sununu says he'll sign the bill if it reaches his desk. In the end,
Senator Sanborn.
Yes.
Senator Kahn.
No.
the bill narrowly passed.
The ayes have it. The motion of ought to pass is adopted 12-11.
The battle over right to work now moves next door to the GOP-controlled State House of Representatives, where passage isn't as much of a sure thing as it was here in the Senate.
But it certainly has been around for a long, long time, and it's worked well.
Longtime Democratic State Senator Lou D'Alessandro opposing a Republican-sponsored bill that would make it easier to carry a concealed weapon. D'Alessandro arguing that the current system, which requires a permit from local law enforcement, works well.
It appears to me that everybody in New Hampshire that wants a concealed permit gets it. Who doesn't get it? Those that are considered dangerous.
Senate Democratic leader Jeff Woodburn also taking aim at the measure.
Senate Bill 12 is a radical, dangerous break from tradition and common sense. It's an ideological solution looking for a problem.
GOP Senator Kevin Avard, who survived a tough re-election in a race where concealed carry was a key issue, said,
"The people have spoken loud and clear."
And Senate Republican leader Jeb Bradley, who sponsored the bill, argued that
our two neighboring states, Vermont and Maine, both have concealed carry.
And he said they're the two safest states in the nation.
Adopting this common sense piece of legislation is not going to make us less safe. In fact, it will probably make us more safe.
In the end,
Senator Bradley.
Yes.
Senator Waters.
No.
The bill passed along party lines.
The motion of ought to pass is adopted 13-10.
And like right to work, concealed carry now going to the State House of Representatives. Pretty sure it's going to pass there, and Governor Sununu has said he will sign it. Let me start with you, Senator Feltes. Both these bills quickly going through committee. They went to, they voted on them immediately. Were the Republicans trying to push these through too quick?
Yes. Obviously, it's fast-tracked. Some of their priorities is to pass the right to work for less bill and to pass concealed carry without a permit. What's disappointing is these are the priorities of my friends in the Republican Party when I didn't hear that on the campaign trail. I didn't hear let's weaken the collective bargaining rights of workers for better wages and benefits. I heard let's lift wages, let's lift benefits for everybody. I didn't hear other priorities like cutting taxes for the wealthiest 1% as a priority. I heard the opposite. I didn't hear concealed carry without a permit as a priority. I heard investing in the middle class to create jobs and economic opportunity for everyone, not just those at the top, as the main priority. So I'm disappointed that this is the top priority for my Republican friends. I think we can do better. I think there's a lot of things we can work on together. Workforce and job training, energy costs, investing in the middle class. That's what we should be focusing on, not making it harder for people to bargain for better wages and benefits.
Senator Sanborn, you got the final word on this one?
Yeah, look, Paul, we put through about 1,200 bills a year, and we know that the language for right to work and the language for constitutional carry are both the identical language that we've brought forth in the past couple of sessions. So when the language is all done, it's so much easier and quicker to get that type of language up and put into a bill. I understand my friends might want to think there's something else going on, but it really comes down to the fact that we've got 1,200 bills, and we have an agenda of all the things we're trying to get through. So the quicker we can get up and get started and have public hearings and hear these bills and vote on them, the faster we can move on to the next product. And my colleague is right. We do have an agenda in New Hampshire. And it's really trying to make New Hampshire more competitive in the business spaces, put more money in the people's pockets, increase our economy so we can show the people of this state that we're protecting their traditional values of live free or die and giving them that personal freedom. So this is the first two of a number of bills you'll see from us that are going to make the people of New Hampshire proud.
And everything that's voted on and passed into law this time around, we'll be, I guess, talking about this 2018. There's another election coming up in just over a year. Well, let's move to the state's Department of Health and